my life. Change. Let's talk about change. Change is a very difficult thing for human beings to engage in. They rather stay in a situation, a relationship, a practice that doesn't serve them because they're afraid of change. Why is change so difficult? Specifically, why is it so difficult when we need to change or we desire to change our religion or our spiritual focus or practice? Everything is choice. And when you make a change, you're saying you want something different. You're making a major choice, a major change in your life. Human beings hate change because they get so content and comfortable where they are. Because the devil, the familiarity keeps you anchored in a situation, in a practice that doesn't work for you anymore. How do people avoid change? They avoid questioning. They avoid evaluating where they are critically because they're afraid they're going to be pushed to change. So they stay in one constant stagnant state of being. Now, as human beings, our gift is change, evolution, expansion. That's a gift. And we don't take advantage of the gift of evolution and expansion because you're afraid. Fear holds us from trying that new thing we haven't tried before. Learning something different means I'm taking myself out of my comfort zone where I am so familiar, and the comfortability is so great, it keeps me focused where I am. So today we're going to be talking about moving or changing from a religion to find a suitable spiritual practice, because like everything else, there is always a time for change. When it comes to you, there's always going to be a change. So people that avoid change, avoid growth, avoid expansion. So if you could be wanting change in your religious practice, it's now stagnant. It's now feeling as if it's not serving you anymore. It's a normal practice to want change. It's a normal feeling to want expansion and growth. So the whole idea is to move away from fear and understand that fear is just an illusion. Understanding what you're really seeking as well is very important. The first step is to understanding what you're seeking. In other words, you're asking yourself, what role does this religion play in my life? Why am I following this religion or practicing this religion? What is it bringing into my life? In most cases, it's bringing meaning. Who am I? People are seeking meaning. Who am I? They're seeking connection as well. Something greater than thyself, than yourself. There must be something greater than myself. I need that connection with the divine. Structure, we're seeking structure as well. How to live day by day. We need structure. Because in most cases, religion doesn't teach you about self-ownership. It's about following and depending on a deity or a God outside of you. So it gives you a structure, a sense of belonging, a sense of meaning and connection. Right now, you're learning how to generate from the internal first, yourself first. You've been taught by religion to depend on something else outside of you, something greater. There's always something greater outside of you. You now deny your own sovereign power. It's like belonging to a political club or any other type of club. Like when we were younger, we had like, you belong to a church, so you belong to a choir group. There's a group of y'all that meet every single day or every once a week or whatever, and your practice, it gives you a sense of belonging. Human beings' core need in life is a sense of structure, meaning and connection and belonging. We all need that. So religion has been giving us that type of foundation. But now many people are asking for more, wanting more. In the Abrahamic systems like Christianity, Islam and Buddhism, right, is a form of structure that gives you a sense of meaning in life. Who am I? In Christianity, I'm a child of God. I'm a follower of Christ. Who am I? That meaning is given to you there. However, in most cases, it's not something you chose for yourself. It's something that you were born into. It's your family's belief. It's your family's religion, your family's practice. But as you get older, depending on the programming of your community and your family, you're able to question or don't question. It's up to you. Does this thing truly work for me? Like a culture, our religions are linked to our cultures. If you travel anywhere in the world, Hinduism in India, it's linked to their culture as well. If you travel to most countries in the world, like in Europe, a lot of them have all these churches, huge mega buildings and churches, old churches, but the people have long since started asking the proper questions. Is this still valid in my life? What's the purpose of it? That's why a lot of Europeans are not really religious at all. But you'll find that in Europe, there's those big, 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 huge old churches because that's where Christianity actually started. You understand? That's where the Abrahamic Christian church started, basically, right? That's where it is. Like if you go to Rome, Rome has got these bigger buildings, religious churches and stuff like that because it's all started there. But now we have a community of people in the world who are being indoctrinated to believe in something that they really don't understand. When you start asking those questions, you get the answers, but you have to be not afraid to ask the questions, right? As I said, change is very uncomfortable for human beings because we feel that if I ask that question and I start being very critical of my religion or my belief, my culture, then I'm going to be disowned. I'm not going to have a meaning in life anymore. I'm not going to have a connection and I'm not going to have a structure and a belonging. Now, as you evolve as a human being, when you start asking the right questions, you get to understand that your own opinion counts. What you want and desire counts. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining my live. I'm speaking to you. I'm just reading all notes here. Are you from Ghana? No, my lovey. I'm from South Africa. Southern part of South Africa. Ghana is in the western part of Africa. But I'm from Southern Africa. Do you know Cape Town or even Durban or Johannesburg? I'm from that country. So Cape Town is one of our major cities in South Africa, and also Johannesburg. Cape Town is very known by a lot of people because it's a tourist attraction. Very beautiful by the sea, lovely of what you call buildings and entertainment and yeah, good stuff, right? So I'm from Southern Africa, from South Africa. Now remember that Southern Africa is just a region of Africa, like how we have West Africa, North Africa, East Africa. It's like that, right? A lot of people don't understand the structure of Africa. They think that Africa is like something very far and can't really understand it, but it's quite a civilized environment now, right? We have a lot of buildings, a lot of infrastructure and stuff like that. But we can do better. However, because most of the buildings and infrastructure in Africa is coming from the colonization, right? A lot of the countries have not really done much to actually make their infrastructure better, right? But I'm from Southern Africa, from South Africa, and I'm based in a small place called Durban. Now, Durban is a coastal city in South Africa, not as big as Cape Town. Cape Town is more like a tourist hub, and Durban is more like a port, right? But we have like a little industries in Durban as well, right? So I live and I work in Durban. Right, as I was saying, I think that answered your question, my lovey. I know South Africa because of cricket. Yes, we are very good, known for our cricket players and also our rugby team as well. Thank you for joining my live. If you're new here, my lovely, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. My channel is all about self-development, spirituality, and self-awareness. So on my channel, I explore a lot of concepts that can actually help us as human beings, concepts that are all human focused, right? So in my channel, I speak about exploring spirituality and learning to question your own spiritual path or even your own religion, because that's where the growth is. Stagnation means I'm afraid to ask. Stagnation means I'm afraid to actually change or even consider change. Somebody spoke about Lesotho. I know Lesotho in between South Africa. I've been there. Oh, you've been to Lesotho. Lesotho is very small. As an independent state, yes, but it's very, very small. Lesotho is quite small. Now we have the surrounding countries around South Africa. Right? Lesotho was part of South Africa early on in the 70s, and I think in the 80s they were given independence, right? Same as other countries as well, like Swaziland, also part of Southern Africa as well, but also got independence from South Africa. I'm not sure exactly why they called our country South Africa when we actually in the southern parts of Africa. We're not the only part of Southern Africa. But anyway, let me continue with my topic. Moving away from Christianity and finding your own path, your spiritual path. Finding your own spiritual path, yes, and also Springboks from our country as well, Southern Africa. We're very good with rugby and stuff like that, right? Swaziland and Liberia. Oh, okay. I don't know much about Liberia is not part of southern part of Africa, right? I think Liberia is more on the farther end. I'm not sure exactly where, right? But anyway, let me continue with my talk. Libya, that's where my ancestors are from. My mother's mother is actually a Nama, and they moved from Libya. Then Zimbabwe is like next door to us, which is very close to South Africa, also part of Southern Africa as well. Very beautiful region of Africa, but then there's other parts of Africa is also need to be explored as well, like north, west, and east parts of Africa. So let's continue on my topic. Moving from Christianity and finding your path. It's about learning. It's about you changing and asking, does this thing serve me anymore? Does my religion serve me? And I mean, this can be very scary for a lot of people, especially if you're from families that base your religion with your culture, it's a sense of belonging. You understand, it becomes difficult. But when you're an adult, you're allowed to change. You're allowed to query. You're allowed to be expansive to want change. When you're an adult, when you're a true free adult with sovereignty, and every single person who's an adult, you have sovereignty, but you need to claim it. You can't accept somebody or expect somebody to give you your freedom. Your freedom is something you claim. It's like it's not a political thing. It's a personal choice to yourself. I'm free. I'm a sovereign person, and I'm free to make my choices. Now, going back to Africa and religion. Africa was colonized and religion was then enforced or just poured into our region, right? And they demonized all the other practices that we had. Like, for example, the spiritual practices, African practices, were deemed to be evil. So remember that religion has been used and can be used to control people because it's linked to your sense of belonging. It's a sense of connection, a sense of structure. There has to be structure. You understand? And people don't understand that the structures within you decide on your own how to live your life. As an adult, you shouldn't be told by other people how to live and what to believe and what to practice. Now let's continue. Now grounding yourself into this path that you all have chosen. Now you've decided to learn about these different religions, but remember that different religions or spiritual practices, you don't have to convert or stop practicing things that you are learning about. Learning is about expansion. It's about taking information and adding it to your bank, to your consciousness. It's not about you, okay, I am learning about Hinduism, I must become a Hindu. Or I'm learning about Islam, I must become a Muslim. No, you're learning, it's information. Information is key for expansion. And when you have expansion, you're able to live your life with consciousness, with consciously making choices, because now you understand. So information gives you that understanding. Okay, does this thing relate with me? Does it make me feel good about myself? Do I feel grounded when I follow or practice Buddhism? Do I feel grounded if I practice Islam? And a lot of people run away from their religious or practices or spiritual practices to find something else they're not finding in their current spiritual practice. And then there are people like myself. When I moved from Christianity, I didn't find a religion. I found understanding of what is Christianity, where it's coming from, and also learning about other religions as well. It's about the learning. And then I've never chosen another religion. I've chosen myself. I've chosen my own peace of mind and understanding of who I am and what is my purpose here on this earth. What is my core purpose here? What makes me feel good about my life, about myself? I started taking accountability. I never go look for a religion. I looked for answers and understanding of what is Christianity, why do people practice Christianity, and where does Christianity come from? Then I learned about Islam. Then I learned about Buddhism. Then I learned about Hinduism. I learned about Thaiism. I learned about a lot of religions to try and understand the human mind when it comes to spirituality. You know, what are we actually focusing or seeking when we join a religious group? We are seeking meaning in life, number one. We are seeking connection, number two. And structure. Now, let's go to connection. Something greater than yourself. You want to connect yourself to something greater than yourself. In my understanding, there's nothing greater than yourself because you're part of the all, you're part of God, you're part of the universe. You are divine. There's nothing greater than yourself. You just have minimized yourself to think that there's things outside of you that are greater than you. Now, if you go to the occultic, esoteric information about the beginning of the world and how the human beings were actually created, we have always been created to serve something else, to serve somebody else. At the beginning, we always created to be the children of God. For example, if you are Christian, to be a sheep. Now, remember that you decide if I want to be the sheep forever or do I want to be my own authority, my own owner of my own life. I need to take responsibility. A sheep seeks the shepherd to lead them, to feed them, to guide them. But when you have true sovereignty, you don't need a shepherd anymore because you understand and realize that you are powerful, that you are a sovereign being. And that means that you don't need to seek something greater than yourself, outside of yourself. Because you are greater already, you are divine, you're part of source of the of the universe, of nature, and nature's divine in its form, right? So that's my realization when it came to my own seeking, is that I am my own sovereign being. Because even if I seek a God outside of me, even if I seek a shepherd, maybe even if I seek a guidance, I still have to make my own decisions. I still have to live my life the way I want to live it. Right? There's no 10 commandments in the Bible that can force you to do what you don't want to do. Because you have sovereignty. You truly do have sovereignty when you make the choice to follow those 10 commandments. When you make those choice to be the sheep and follow what's said in the Christian Bible, that is also your choice as well. You are not forced. Right? So change is very important, but only if you're willing to make a change for yourself, not for your family, not for society, for yourself. To make that change and make those decisions in your life that can make your own life better. Right? Remember that change is important, but change can be also scary. It can be also unsettling. You can feel uncomfortable with the change because it's something you have not done before. It's something that you have not done before. You asked me if I'm Christian. No, my love, I'm not Christian. As I said, I was Christian and I moved from Christianity, did my research on other religions, and got to understand what is really Christianity, where it's coming from. And the information's out there already. The information's out there already. Religion, like any other, Christianity and religion, any other religion, it's all based on control. That's my own opinion. You don't want to be controlled. You want to be loved. You want to be nurtured. You want to be guided. You want to be accepted for who you are. You don't always have to be proving yourself to be something that this deity or this God wants you to be. Right? Remember, growth is an expansion. Information is when you are becoming more aware and becoming an independent person. Now, it's difficult for a lot of people who have religions or cultures that are linked. My religion is linked to my culture. If I leave Islam, for example, that means I'm turning against my culture, I'm turning against my family. And that's how they've intertwined it. They've intertwined your culture and your religion so tightly. Family belonging. Now you're going to lose that meaning to your life. You're going to lose that connection. You're going to lose that structure. But you can find a meaning outside of religion. You can find connection outside of religion. You can find structure outside of religion, right? You can find these things outside of Christianity, outside of Islam, outside of Judaism, outside of Hinduism. You can find that meaning. When you decide to become a sovereign being and really own your life, right? Now learning without submitting. Remember when you learn something new about Hinduism, for example, it doesn't mean you need to submit to the Hinduism way of living and become a Hindu. It means you're learning. You take the information and you move on and learn something different. Now remember, if you look at all religions, they're all linked on one discipline. Number two, uh, um, belonging to a certain group, right? You have a belonging. Now, a lot of people don't even accept themselves, they don't have internal belonging. You don't accept yourself. You don't have your own belonging within yourself. You don't even trust yourself. You don't even love yourself. You don't even accept yourself. And that is very big and huge. That's the reason why people are in religion, but they're broken because they haven't, number one, accepted themselves. They haven't loved themselves. They haven't embraced who they are because they're so focused on thinking that their belonging is outside of them, that their connection is outside of them, that their structure is outside of them. You cannot depend on yourself. You don't even trust yourself. So you pray to a deity or a God to bring you all the things and to bring you the peace, and you refuse to choose peace within yourself. You're looking for something outside of you to give you that peace and an acceptance. But inside, you're hating yourself. That's why we have this type of problem where religion is failing. And it has been failing for a very long time because people go there broken, seeking answers, seeking connection, seeking meaning, seeking structure. And they don't get it because it's within you. That meaning, the belonging, the structure is within you. And spirituality is about that. Now remember that. People that are religious or seeking spirituality from something outside of them. Spirituality and religion are kind of linked. Religion is like a belonging to a group, a way of life, a way of thinking, a different perception. You understand? Christianity, we believe in Christ. Christ died for us on the cross, a big sacrifice. You understand? That's the kind of believing that they have, which gives them structure and gives them meaning, and it feeds into the whole story of the shepherd and the sheep. You remain a sheep all your life and you don't take accountability of your life. So yes, I am in a situation I find myself in now, not because God is punishing me, but because I made a decision. I made a choice to drink that alcohol. I made a choice to jump in the car when I'm under influence of alcohol. So why would you blame God for something that you already chose to do? Why would you say something like, where was God when I needed God? When you decided to make the decision against your own well-being that endangered your own life and other people's lives. Now, when you are more spiritual, you understand that every choice that I make means I'm accountable. I'm accountable of drinking that alcohol. I'm accountable of jumping in that car under influence of alcohol. I'm not a victim. I've made a decision, and because of cause and effect, and what we call karma, what you put out is what you're going to get. So when I jump in this car now under influence of alcohol, I know what's going to happen. I'm not going to blame nobody else. Now, spirituality is about accountability. Religion is about, no, I'm under a certain God. I'm under a certain deity. I'm subject to this deity and this God. And I need to tread very lightly and make sure I make the proper decisions, or else I'm going to be punished. See the difference? Not taking accountability and throwing away your own sovereignty and your own authority of your life. So spirituality is about you being more disciplined because it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to be focused on your life. It's your responsibility to do what you need to do to get what you want in life. You are not praying to a God or a deity outside of you, because you know that you are divine within. You are part of nature. You're part of the universe. You are created in the image of God. So how can you be lesser than God? If your father's a lion, will you not be a lion? If your father is a powerful king, well, will you not be a powerful king when you are grown up, because you're coming from that energy? You're coming from an energy of power. Why disempower yourself when you're coming from an energy of power? In a Christian Bible, the reason I'm even talking about Christianity so much is that 85% of people in the world, 8 billion of us, are Christian focused or have a Christian belief or a Christian indoctrination, basically, right? When you're indoctrinated in something, you don't believe in anything else besides that thing. You are stuck in it. You understand? Nobody can tell you anything, even if it makes sense, but doesn't make sense to you, because you purely believe in what you were taught. You believe in your spirit, in your religion so much that you won't question it. And if you hear about somebody else's religious practice, like for example Hinduism or even Buddhism, you say, okay, that is demonic. Everything outside of your belief becomes demonic. Now you are so indoctrinated that you cannot think from outside this perception that was fed to you, because there's no child who was born and said, okay, children, you decide, do you want to become a Christian or do you want to become a Islamic person, or do you become a Jew? We're not asked that question. We grow up fed our family culture, our family religion. However, we have the gift of choice, and when we become adults, when you decide, now I'm an adult, I'm now deciding if I can make a choice to get up every morning and go to a job and work for the whole month and add value to the organization, I have the authority then too to choose what I believe in, to follow a certain spiritual practice or a certain religious practice that suits me. And I should not be pushed by my culture or my family or background. I should be given it freedom, because I'm a sovereign being. Your sovereignty, you have to claim it. You claim your belief, you claim it. Nobody forces you to believe something that doesn't gel with you, that does not align with who you are. Maybe in the past, when you were younger, religion, Christianity, Islam, the Hinduism worked for you and you align to it. But as you grow up, you start asking questions, meaning that now your higher self is activating an expansion, and you need to now either follow suit and engage in the expansion, or you just go back and lie down and feel and live into your family culture or family spirituality or family religion. You have the choice to make your own life choices. Nobody's forcing us. So if you want to make a change in life, it's about you deciding, I need this change. I am now aligning myself to it. I'm opening myself to the specific change. Don't allow your society to keep you quiet. Don't allow your family to keep you in something you don't want to practice anymore. That's what true evolution is. True ownership and sovereignty. Being your own person, you decide, okay, well, now I'm trying this, or I'm sticking in where I am. I'm sticking where I am and I'm following with my family culture or spirituality. There's nothing wrong with that. See, here in the game of life, there's no right or wrong decision. Your decision will just determine the outcomes of your life. Your decisions on how you practice, the religion you practice, the spiritual practice that you start to practice, right? That's your own decisions. And no sovereign person who's an adult, because I believe that every person who's an adult is a sovereign being. So, but most people don't want to be sovereign. They don't want to own themselves. They want to be under something else. They're afraid to be adults and make that choice. Now, as I said, that when you make that choice, right, to try something different, to learn something different, you don't have to now practice it and submit to it. You can learn about Buddhism and get an understanding. Okay, Buddhism is about this, it's about that, finding the middle path. It's about being open and oneness. It's about celebrating yourself and life. It's about being kind to others. Buddhism is actually foundational, seeped in peace. And again, there's different sects of Buddhism. Buddhism is not just one thing, just like Christianity, just like Islam, it's evolved. It's evolved. There's different sects of Buddhism. One's linked to Hinduism with more Hinduism type of practices, and then others that he linked to other spiritual practices. You understand? Every religion is not just straightforward. There's always something offshoots, as we call it. If you go to Christianity, the first church it ever was, as we know, Roman Catholic Church. Then from there came other offshoots. These offshoots took the basics from Roman Catholic Church practices, and they started now adding their own, we call it expansion, learning something new, trying something new. Human beings that forever have been trying new things and expanding and creating new types of ways of living. And that's perfect. We're supposed to expand. There's no right and wrong. Okay? But there's boundaries. The laws of nature. Don't hurt your neighbor. Don't hurt other people. When we go against the laws of nature, we manifest all the negative, evil things happening in this reality because we went against the law of nature. You understand? Don't hurt any other person. In your journey of progression, don't hurt other people. In your journey of leveling up and making more money in life, don't hurt other people. Because remember the law of attraction and all the other 12, many laws. I think it's about 12 of them official, right? And there's 9 major ones, the laws of the universe, right? And remember the one major law is the law of oneness. We all connected and we may deny it. People may deny it because they're afraid to take accountability that when I hurt you, I hurt myself, I hurt everybody else. I'm adding to the collective frequency. Last weekend, I spoke about how the current situation we find ourselves now in the world is based on our collective energy and frequency. And when you make a choice in life, your choice has a ripple effect, right? Because it's a frequency, it's an energy, all right? It's an energy and a frequency. And when you pause and go, that frequency is still here because there's other people emitting the same frequency. That's how it is, basically, right? Now we have this whole matrix system or this whole global system, okay? And only thing that's really true here is energy and frequency. And your energy and your frequency is linked to your choices. When you make that change, that choice to change, you change your frequency. You change a vibration. You start believing in certain things. You start practicing certain things that are different compared to the past. Meaning your frequency, your vibration changes. You start thinking differently. You start being more expansive. You start being more exclusive. When you expand, you allow other people to be. You allow the Hinduism to believe in the Hinduism because you understand what it is. You allow Buddhists to be Buddhists because you understand what it is. And you truly understand there's no superior belief or philosophy. There's no superior belief or philosophy. Because outside of this construct, there's no religion. Outside of this construct, there's no religion, right? So remember that everything is a choice. And if you want to make a change in your life, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of change because change can bring new things in your life, new comforts, new successes, new joys in your life. So a lot of people push against change because it's going to make things uncomfortable for them. It's going to make them maybe even lose some money and stuff like that. Right now, as the frequency changes, as we head towards 2030, right, the suffering, the pain needs to change, needs to drop off because the frequency rises. And for the frequency to rise, as I said last week, all the information that's hidden needs to be shown up in public. And now we're seeing all sorts of things. We understand, okay, there are people that are eating other human people flesh and doing occult rituals and molesting children sexually. Pedophilia is linked to the occult. Now we're learning all those things. There are people that understand the occult and understand the spiritual, deep spiritual truths and secrets, and they're using those to gain their power. By, for example, what they're talking about, pollution, the energy that they've been taking from the suffering and our emotions. And we, human beings, fail to control our emotions. We fail to even acknowledge our emotions. Okay, today I'm angry. It's okay for me to be angry. However, it's not okay for me to lash out and hurt another person. It's not okay for me to go and criticize and insult a person on social media. I'm not feeling so good about myself and I'm lashing out on other people. That's not taking ownership. So the human beings, technology has been so advanced and growing, but our understanding, our consciousness is stagnant. Very few people are having expansion consciously, because to have expansion consciously, you need to be able to change and accept change and be able to, yeah, be very critical about your own belief. What am I doing in my life that's causing my suffering? What am I avoiding so much with my belief and me being so rigid in my belief? What am I avoiding? Am I feeding my ego? Remember, your ego makes you feel as if you're more superior. A lot of people that follow Christianity and are Christians have huge egos, yet the foundation character, the main character in the New Testament, Yeshua, Jesus, who supposedly died for their sins, he didn't have an ego that big. You listen to the story. His ego was not big. He was a loving, kind person. Why is it that Christians fail to be loving and kind? Why do they fail to be more open and more flaccid with their thoughts? Every single person needs love. Every single person needs love. So when we are seeking meaning in our lives, seeking connection in our lives, seeking structure, we are also seeking love. We are seeking acceptance. But now we fail to have self-acceptance and love. We fail to understand ourselves, understand our emotions. We fail to accept who we are and make a change if change is needed, because we are stuck in our culture, we are stuck in our religion. And we feel as if I change and start questioning my belief system, I'm going to lose the meaning. Who am I? Remember that you are a divine source having a human experience, and that human experience does involve a religion. It does involve a spiritual practice. It does involve a certain connection, but your spirit is having a human experience. Because when you die, your body goes and your spirit leaves this realm of existence. It goes to another realm of existence, and it's been proven. Same as with the death of Christ. Apparently, when Jesus Christ, Yeshua, was actually crucified on the cross, and mind you, that was not an uncommon punishment for somebody who was a rebellious person. He was a rebel, so he was punished like a rebel. He was crucified. It wasn't only specifically for him. They did it for all the other rebels. This guy was a rebel. He wanted change. He was asking questions in his own spiritual group in Judaism. He was asking questions. He was changing things. He was questioning the way the Pharisees were actually doing things at that time. He was a rebel. And what they did, people that were rebels got punishment. They were crucified. You understand? Yes, and that's exactly what happened to Yeshua. Now the question is, they say after 3 days, so he died, then he rose again, kind of vibe, okay? Then we get to understand, how is that possible? How can a person die and then rise again? Then the reason was because he's holy, he's son of God. He is divine, he's God. That's why he rose again. You understand? So that's the answer that Christianity gives you. Then we get to learn more about the life of and history of Yeshua, right? In those 12 years, because he appeared when he was born. They showed of his birth, sort of his birth in Jerusalem, and then they showed a bit of when he was 12 and he was questioning the Pharisees in the synagogue, and then the guy disappears, right? And then he appears again when he's 31. So what happened to him in those other years that they don't tell us in the Bible? Then they do some research and they find that this guy traveled to places like India to learn more about spirituality, about esoteric, occultic information. I remember that in those days, something occult and something esoteric was not demonic. It wasn't like, woo, my God, I need to be afraid. It wasn't like that. Religions made esoteric and cultic information all demonic because they needed people to move away from the empowerment and to the enslavement where you are a sheep. Why be a sheep when you can be your own leader, your own sovereign leader? Right? Because even if you are a sheep, you still have to make your own decisions. Am I right? You still have to live your own life. The church cannot live your life for you. Your pastor cannot live your life for you. And I'm talking through experience because I was part of the church. And there's nothing wrong or right about it. It is a part of life. It's a part that we all will follow because we were brought up in religion. But then sooner or later, you have to evolve. But then again, you're given a choice to evolve. You either evolve and stay as a sheep, or you evolve and understand that I have authority over my own life, that God the Father has given me the authority to make those decisions. God, the source, the creator, has given me the authority, and that source has never left me. I never turned from God when I left religion or left Christianity. In other words, I became one with God. I started now taking ownership of my own life and understanding that I'm divine, I'm loved, and I am love. And I'm here for a purpose to help other people also evolve and grow. And that can be the most difficult thing because when you have a voice and your God is giving you a voice, you're supposed to speak and teach and inspire and activate and trigger some insights in other people because that's why you have a voice. We have creativity. Your throat chakra is connected to your sacral chakra. You have all these gifts and you must make use of them in a very uplifting way, not to abuse other people, but to uplift them. Right? That's why we have authors, we have writers, we have actors, because in most cases, they have the gift. The gift's supposed to add to the community and to themselves because your gift will make a way for you. Your gift shall make a way for you. It's in the Christian Bible, right? Your gift, whatever it is, speech, acting, expression, movement, insights, that's your gift. So you got to make that gift make a way for you by serving the world and yourself. Because when you serve others, you serve yourself. But you cannot experience your true self if you're stuck in one space and you're afraid to change. You cannot experience your true self if you're stuck in one place and you're afraid of change because you're afraid of what your people are going to judge you, your family's going to disown you, you're afraid of losing connection, of losing a structure, of losing meaning in your life. You give your life meaning. Your parents gave you a meaning when you were a child. But as you grow up and become an adult, a sovereign being, you put your own meaning in your life. You decide, okay, am I going to follow this path of being a Jew and following orthodox Jewish practices, or I'm going to learn something else and say, okay, well, that was my parents. I choose for myself now. I choose to go this path, or you can decide, well, I embrace this way of living. This is me. It feeds me. It satisfies me. It makes me happy. It makes me feel as if I'm adding value in life. Right? So those are the things that we get to understand when you begin to change and accept change in life. Remember that change is the only constant thing in life. And people that resist change, right? They live very uncomfortable lives and not able to live expansion lives because they are stuck. They're afraid of change. Fear is not true and it's not real. But fear is crippling. When you're afraid of losing something, you will be afraid to try something new because you're afraid of losing something. asking the right questions, being more critical about your belief systems. Are they working for me now? And remember, there's no right or wrong way of living. And remember that the universe also has its way of keeping a balance. A balance. The universe has a way of keeping a balance. So there's no way you can do anything wrong in this life. When you make it a choice in life that's not so healthy, you hurt somebody else, karma kicks in, cause and effect kicks in. And then, in the mundane world, you probably go to jail, right? That's the karma, that's the balance that's been caused. And not only the jail itself, but the balance within yourself, that regrets, understanding what I did is wrong. And I'm so sorry. And when I'm free, I will live differently. Now, remember, that the jail system doesn't work very well. It never has been working very well because people walk out of jail worst, right? So it's like, yes, you're taking accountability, but not really taking accountability. You're going in there and you're earning and learning that this is a way of life, that yes, my way of life of being a violent person is now something that's I'm now immersed in a community of people being violent, because violence in jails is very common. We all know about that, right? Where people all in low frequency come together and gather together, and there's no push or motivation to change. And they dare and they create their own community of low frequency people and start fighting, and the violence and the manipulation and the sexual abuse and all those things that happens in the jail system. So people will come out worse than when they went in. Right? That's why they've been trying to, or they have been teaching religion in prisons, because religion, as I said, it's a very good thing, but also there's a negative thing. It's only one part, but if you're stuck in religion, you don't get growth. You understand? Because you're stuck in one belief. You're not asking any other questions. You're not challenging your beliefs that you've been taught by the church, by your family, and all those things. When you don't challenge something or don't challenge life as a human being, there's no growth. And what you're afraid of, you shouldn't run away from it. You should run towards it, because what you're afraid of is what's going to change your life and make it better. You're afraid to write that book. You're afraid to try something new. You're afraid to even post or make your own social media channel and post, because you're afraid of people challenging you, people judging you. Now, remember that in this world, you have your supporters and you have your critics. Okay? You have those people that love you and support you, and you have your critics. So when you decide to suppress your creativity and your authentic self by not posting those videos, not opening the social media channel for yourself to express your own meaning of life and to teach other people, inspire other people, you're actually closing the lid to your own creativity. You're closing the lid to your own power. And you are gifted with a creative word, a creative expression to help the world. And when you're afraid of judgments and critical returns or responses, then you're actually closing yourself out, and you're choosing to give the critics and the judging people your power. Like everything else in life, you want to start that business, you're afraid, oh my God, such a big thing. I need the money. Where am I going to get the money? Oh my God, I've never done this before. Every single person has tried something new and created something new and wonderful in this world. Never did it before, but they did it anyway, and then they learned something new. You understand? Yes, and the more you do something, the more you gain more momentum, the more you gain more confidence in yourself and belief in yourself. But when you suppress your expression, you suppress your expansion. So change is something that is inevitable. And in this life, I spoke about the most powerful change, our religion, our spirituality, very powerful. When you start asking questions and start being more critical of your own belief system, it's powerful because it allows you to learn something different. It allows you to try something different as well. Excuse me. It allows you to try something different. So change is inevitable. However, we're always pushing against the change. And because we're pushing, we don't get to expand and grow. If you have a routine and the routine you've been following for the last 10 years, whatever, and you don't experience anything new because it's the same routine, even expecting it's like using the same route from work to home every single day, and you don't try another route, right? You never will experience something different because it's the same thing you even expected. And we are beautiful manifestations. We manifest and we create. Your thoughts, your belief system creates everything. So you're following the same route every single day. You even expect it. It's nothing new. But when you say to yourself, I'm going to try something new, right? Maybe I'll use the same route, but maybe I'll play a song, a very vibely, powerful song that's like activates excitement and joy in me, right? Then I'm joyous right through the drive to work, to work or home. Now you change something and you made something different, a different experience. I'm not going to fight with people. I'm not going to get angry when people do the wrong things in the road, even if you come and you cut into me, whatever, right? As long as you don't damage my vehicle, I'm fine. I'm not going to be frustrated. I'm not going to be angry. You're changing something. You're raising a frequency. And life is about that. We always give an opportunity to change, but people are afraid of change because we get stuck in the old comfortable way of living and thinking. And that becomes a problem. No expansion, no growth, nothing different. And we yet to experience different things right now. You can explore different parts when it comes to religion, right? Without joining them, as I said, right? Think of like you want to try and understand what is Hinduism? What is it teaching me about? What is teaching people about? What is karma cycles? This religion, Hinduism, speaks about consciousness, karma, and karma cycles. Let me learn more about that. Doesn't mean I'm believing in Hinduism. Doesn't mean I'm converting. It means I'm just getting understanding so I can get expansion. So I can understand my neighbor who's a Hindu. So I can understand my colleague who's a Hindu. So I can understand other Hindu people in my community. So I can be on the same page with them and now relate with them better. That's what happens. That's what the expansion brings right now. For example, if you want to learn about Taoism, what is Taoism? Taoism teaches about flow, non-force. What is flow and non-force? What is all that? Right now, you're learning all these things. What about Buddhism? Buddhism teaches about awareness, detachments from suffering. Because Buddhism and Buddhists believe that suffering is caused by us. We create our own suffering by attaching ourselves to the material things in this world. Right? Like the African traditional religions as well. What they're teaching about ancestral connection. What is ancestral connection? Nature-based spirituality. What is that? It's about being curious. So expanding and changing is about curiosity. Being curious about life. Expansion and change and learning is all about being curious about life. It's not about you disowning your religion, no. It's about you learning, but then you have a choice to change if you want to change. But you don't have to change and adapt another spiritual path, okay? So what I did, basically, I learned about everything and then I decided I don't need a religion. Understand, I can live my life with Buddhism principles. I can live my life with Christian principles. I can live my life with Hinduism principles. I can live my life with African principles as well. I don't need to belong to any of these religions because I decided I don't want to belong to a certain religion anymore. I want to experience life authentically, my own choice. I know about Christianity and I'm fine with it. It's neither bad or good. Right? That's where I was brought up and I honor the practices there as well. You understand? However, I've decided I will not walk the path of a religion and submit to a certain religion. I'm just going to live my life as myself, seeking peace and happiness within myself and also sharing that peace and happiness with other people as well, right? So these are what we're talking about today, right now. All these systems and religions teach us about blind obedience. Blind obedience linked to faith. Okay, it teaches about fear-based control because we're afraid of going to hell. We're afraid of not getting what we were promised by our religions. If you're only obedient, then you'll go to heaven. If you don't not obedient, go to hell. Now remember that nothing in this reality is true until you make it to be true to you. Everything is just a perception, a belief. Now we're living in this whole system with lots of beliefs. We have some people who are atheists, some people are satanic, some people that are all spiritual, some people are religious, they have certain religious belief systems. And remember that since you are per se not Buddhist, not a Buddhist, so don't believe in Buddhism, and you practice what you're practicing, your life will unfold according to your own belief. Your life will unfold according to your own belief. Even if you listen to those near-death incidents or stories, people that are atheists, right, normally have the death experience and experience the nothing, and then sometimes because of the curiosity that they never experienced before or challenge, they get to see that, oh, there is a God, that God is true, that God is real, and all those things. There are a lot of atheists that had near death experiences that come back and say that I had this experience and God showed himself to me, and yes, I was an atheist. You understand? Because that's what you was truly seeking, a belonging. You were seeking a belonging. You were seeking a structure to have a connection. And atheism denies you that connection. Because when you're atheist, you're not believing anything higher than yourself or anything at all. You just believe that everything is just happening, by chance. You understand? And I love atheists because they're very critical. They're very critical at the same time. But when you are so constructed and you're not flexible around your atheism, it becomes a problem. Same with any other belief system. If you believe that your path is the only path and no other path, that's been too rigid, then you don't have a chance to expand. Now, remember that my channel, if you're new here, is about spirituality, evolution, growth, and self-development, and taking accountability of your life experience. So on my channel, I touch on topics like what I'm touching on now: change, fear, doubt, love, hate, all sorts of types of different spiritual practices and religious practices. There is no bad or wrong religion or practice, guys. Everything is open and acceptable. Your belief is your belief, and your life will unfold according to your own belief. I don't believe in a hell, a solid place where you go to hell. I believe that people's mindsets can put them in a hell state now that they're alive. And when you dead and pass and go, your personality stays and you experience the very same experience because your personality is still there. Your beliefs carry over with you, but your body stays and rots. It goes back to the earth. Right? So I believe that everybody's path or choice is their own business. Whatever you feel aligns with you, it's your choice. But understand that in this life, you have to take accountability and also have integrity to yourself. So honor yourself. You understand? Honor yourself, but at the same time, practice the law of oneness and love. So as I said, if you have not as yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. My channel is about spirituality and awareness and about you becoming a better person. And we talk about these concepts and topics of how we can become better people by accepting everybody else's practice. Accepting people for who they are. Get to understand, just because a person is an atheist doesn't mean that they're hateful. Just because a person is who's believing in Satanism, and even Satanism has got a lot of two major branches apparently. It's not just straightforward believing in Satan. It's divided into two. Again, it's a philosophy. It's a philosophy of self, what is that? Authorization, being your own of your life, yes, but at the same time, you choose not kindness, you choose yourself, selfishness, you choose your ego. Now, there's a lot of stuff you can learn about Satanism and stuff like that. But when you're afraid, you're able to learn. A lot of people be afraid. Oh, say Satanism, why should I learn about that? Understand, guys, that it's only a philosophy, it's a perception. People create their own devils in their minds, like how Christianity creates the concept of the devil. And out of all the religions, Christianity has the devil. It has the hell. And other religions don't have that. I'm not sure about Judaism, but I think it does speak about Hades and stuff like that. But Judaism is very old, and it's the mother of all the Abrahamic religions, Christianity and Islam. Right. So all this, it's nice to learn these things and understand where our belief systems come from. They come from somewhere. You understand? We need to learn these things and don't be afraid to ask the questions. There's nothing that can hurt you here. Knowledge is just knowledge. And maybe it can free your mind from being stuck in one concept or perception. And you can understand why Hinduism is in Hinduism, how old it is, how long it has been practiced, why has it been practiced, what's the foundation belief systems around Hinduism and other religions as well. Now, refining God. Who is God and what is God? That is one of the main first questions I had to ask myself when I left the Christian church. What is God and who is God? And it's quite interesting how the whole story evolved in the last, so it's over 10 years now, right, since I left the church, right? And I bless and I pray for all people that are stuck in a space they don't believe in, and they stuck that because they're afraid. They are stuck because they're afraid to ask those questions, walking away from something and objectively looking at it and asking those questions. Now, a lot of people who are born in Christian churches, they're not objective. They're very subjective because everything's around this whole Sunday vibe and all the other festivals you have, like Christmas, Easter, and other things in between. It's part of your life. You feel afraid to ask questions and also challenge it. Then you get stuck and never get to expand or learn other philosophies about life, because all these things are all perceptions, they're all stories, they're all narratives. So you have to learn to tell yourself your own story, shaping God for yourself. Who is God and what is God? So you say to yourself, okay, in a Christian Bible, they say God is this. If you're Islam, you'll say, okay, in the Quran, they say God is this. In my home, God is this. Okay. In Hindu, it's the same story. In Hindu, it's even more crazy because there's many gods, which is quite interesting. Now, these are the things that you get very excited about, because every religion is seeing God differently and gods differently. In African religions as well, you will also learn about other things as well, like the Ifa traditions and all the other things. There's goddesses and there's gods. There's God, there's goddesses, and there's many gods, demigods, and yeah, you're learning all these things. Then people get afraid. Oh my God, this is demonic, especially if you're still stuck and they haven't detoxed from the indoctrination of your religion. Remember, this experience is all about experience. There's nothing concrete here. That is why all 8 billion of us are walking around with different worldviews. And maybe there's some similarities in frequency, but we all don't have the same worldview. There has to be some sorts of difference right now. My channel is not about demonizing or outing or criticizing other religions. It's about information. You got to ask yourself these questions, because that's part of growth. My channel is about growth and evolution, change in your own life. Okay, so like what I've determined, that if I take all the good things of Buddhism and leave the dogma, because there's dogma in all religions, right? Take all the good things about Buddhism, go to Hinduism and take all the good things about Hinduism and leave the dogma, and go to maybe Thaiism and take the good things about Thaiism as well and leave the dogma, and I can live my life so wonderfully and take all these belief systems and yeah, live my life according to all these great human foundations of love and peace and kindness and ownership, and understand that every decision I make in my life is me. I cannot blame any situation or circumstance I find myself in, because I made those decisions that got me in that circumstance. It's all about ownership, right? So if you have not as yet, I'm Sissy and I'm a life coach, a motivational speaker. I'm also a spiritual teacher as well, right? So I also do tarot. And if you are interested in tarot, you'll find me on TikTok with the same name, manifest underscore with underscore Sission. And I read tarot, and I also do oracle card readings as well. Right. So remember, all of this is symbolism, and it's not an answer to your life's problems. It's about activating some insights within yourself and getting the guidance you need from the higher self and from divine source. You understand? It's all about that. We need the guidance. And remember, a lot of people want to demonize spirituality, they demonize tarot cards, they demonize everything which is not Christian. And that's their choice as well. Everybody has a choice. You understand? They have the choice. And that's what this life is about. But remember that Your sovereignty is very important. Make the choice that adds a value to you. Not out of fear, but because you understand what you're practicing, you understand where it's coming from. You choosing and understanding it. Since I know where the Christianity starts and what's it all about and what it's been used for, then am I going to follow or am I going to change and try something different? It's up to you. But it's unacceptable for a next person to go and say another person's belief system is demonic. It's unacceptable. You are being demonic by being judgmental. You are being demonic by not loving and accepting other people's belief systems and choices. And that's where we fall short in this world now. We have a lot of people going on social media, trolling other people's contents and calling it demonic and stuff like that. You are judging why? Because your ego needs to be fed and you need to feel good about yourself. Now, love as a Christian, it's not about feeling good about yourself. It's about you loving other people. As God loved you, and God loves you, you must love other people as well. That means you got to accept other people, even if they're all reading tarot, even if they're all practicing oracle cards, and what it may be. That's their choice. Everybody person has a choice. How would you feel if your choice was taken away from you? How will you feel? You got to do unto others that you would love to be done to you. That's how it works. Going around and being hateful to other people, it goes against the gift of choice. Everybody has a choice to live the way they want to live and believe in what they want to believe. Okay, guys, so I'm now finishing my live. So as I said, if you have not as yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm Sissy, life coach, motivational speaker, and I would love to have you in my community, my growing community, as my numbers rise. And as we get more bigger, we can have more interactive lives with a lot of questions and stuff like that. And I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to that as well. So have a great Saturday. Further, it was a long weekend. Yesterday was a holiday for us in South Africa, right? So it was Freedom Day, I think, yes. So have a great Saturday further and be kind to yourself and others as well. Always be kind to yourself and others. And see you in the next one. Bye.